Let's go ahead and move on to the to AFC North. We start off with the Ravens, where I said that King Henry was going to have to slow down one way or another, and he was going to fall below 4.5 yards per carry. Played all 17 games, every single one of them, racked up 1,595 yards on 307 carries, which gives him a grand total of 5.2 yards per game. The king is still rumbling and tumbling. I thought he was gonna just slow down maybe a little bit, man. But goddamn, it's continuous. Doesn't stop. I mean, obviously he had bad games and he was slow at times in the beginning of the season, especially. And he had what popped off for 200 and something with 3 or 4 touchdowns at one game. I mean, fantasy owners love that one, but I didn't because I was going against it in the championship game. Does not feel good. But obviously Derrick Henry still is Derrick Henry. We'll see how long it lasts because 30-plus-year-old running backs don't last too long typically, but he may just be the exception.
Took him all those years, and he finally passed his high school rushing yard total last year. So shout out to Derrick Henry.
And you were just talking about corners. Nate Wiggins is going to lead the league in interceptions. He had 3 interceptions in full 17 games played this past year. Struggled a little bit. Wasn't as good as where he was supposed to be. A little unfortunate. Let's see. He allowed the 6th most receptions in the league. But sometimes when you're getting thrown at that much, you do pick off a lot of passes. A la Trayvon Diggs. But unfortunately, he didn't translate that one. So I don't think it's a bad prediction in the slightest, especially with how good he was the year before.
He had 3. That was good for top 25, I'm sure. But yeah, not quite number 1, unfortunately.
Yeah, top 3 spots were Kevin Byard, Devin Lloyd. Yes, linebacker, Devin Lloyd, and Jaycee Horn, which is funny because I remember, didn't I text you right before the season started about Jaycee Horn? Didn't he get paid this last offseason? I was like, are they really paying Jaycee Horn? I'm like, kind of feels a little confusing because he's injury prone. He's like, you pay good corners, man. I'm like, all right, whatever. Comes out at the 3rd in interceptions. So, and he's a baller. So, another one I was wrong about, just in the background.
Hey,
moving on to the Bengals.
When you're named after a legend, you're guaranteed to be, Joe Horn.
Yeah, it's true.
I like watching the 2nd, 3rd generation players go out and do their thing. I think that's really cool.
Yep. And obviously we have a little brother, Caleb Downs, coming out of Josh Downs, coming out of college right now. Is going to be a top 15 pick. He should be top 5, but that's for another discussion. But
yeah, we're going to have those conversations in like 6 or 7 years where it's like, how did this guy not go top 5? That's the same reason why Kyle Hamilton didn't go top 15.
Yeah.
No, where'd Kyle Hamilton go? 14. Yeah.
14. Yep. In a weak quarterback class, the Kenny Pickett quarterback class still went 14th. Yeah, but that's the Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, where Trayvon Walker has all these crazy numbers in athletics, and then he gets picked first, and Aiden goes 2, when he was the consensus 1 the entire year. So it just shows you what combine and the I'm blanking on the other one, the team one.
Well, it's also pro day. It's the franchises. Look at the franchise that took him at number 1.
Yep.
And it's clearly like, okay, well, you guys are a laughing stock, and that's why you did that. I can remember where I was at. I think I can remember sitting on my couch when the Raiders took Darius Hayward-Bay instead of Michael Crabtree. And obviously, I mean, Michael Crabtree didn't end up being what we thought he was going to be, but Darius Hayward-Bay didn't either. So here we are.
Moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals, where I said Trey Hendrickson was going to have fewer than 8 sacks on the back of his ongoing contract disputes, having a poor season. I was very heavy on, I'm not going to say guys are going to be injured because they're holding out. I'm just going to say that they're going to have a bad season. And he only played 7 games, recorded 4 sacks, still on the team. Who knows for how long, but he had a poor year. Again, you only play in 7 games. You're probably not going to have a great year. And this one, you basically bang the drum for all offseason, and that's Joe Burrow MVP. 8 games, 1,809 yards, 17 touchdowns, 66.8% completion percentage. But unfortunately, he didn't play the whole year, and the Bengals were doo-doo.
Hey, but if he had played that pace, though,
That's true. That's true.
And I mean, so but here's a question. We'll go back to the way we kick this podcast off. If you could poll every NFL team this upcoming season, and you could give them Joe Burrow or you could give them Patrick Mahomes, who's how's that being divided? You know what I'm saying? So
high level previous seasons, both guys have injury concerns. Patrick Mahomes just like a little bit, couple games here and there at a time. Joe Burrow has missed large chunks of multiple seasons. Both uber talented. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one, man. It might literally be split down the middle on who would pick who. Moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, I combined this one as well because we were not very high on the Steelers, so I decided to combine us on this one. I said the Steelers were going to have a losing record for the first time in Mike Tomlin's tenure, and you said the Steelers will have a top 10 draft pick in this year's draft. Steelers went 10-7, right to the wild card, where they brutally lost to the Texans 30-6. They currently own the 21st pick in the draft with questions about next year's quarterback. The questions around a lot of the team, I feel like, and new regime coming in, Mr. Mike McCarthy. Who knows how that one's going to play out. Worked out well for his last team. I mean, 21st, you talked about pick 19 being, pick hell in terms of if you need a quarterback. 21's even worse.
I think that they're probably betting on Aaron to come back and play again this season, if I had to imagine.
And you let it in that way on a pick six? Last blast pass of your career?
I mean, if they don't, then I'm going to say something, and I know you hate this, but
okay.
It's Ty Simpson. You know what I mean? Like, I know you love your Alabama quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So realistically, like, unless you're calling up the 49ers and offering a second or third round pick for Mac Jones, you know what I mean? There's just not a ton.
How much success do you really want? I mean, there's not a lot of tanking in the NFL, unlike the NBA. There's not a lot of tanking, but how much success do you want for a team like this that isn't going to be uber competitive, but do you want to bring some middle of the road quarterback to will themselves to a 14, a 15 when you have a quarterback class next year that is being talked about as being stacked? You could get your quarterback next year if you can kind of set it to the side, let whoever comes in play out, whatever. Whoever's going to be the quarterback, don't bring in someone else. Don't bring back Aaron Rodgers. Let it play out. Let it ride. I mean, is that the worst thing on the planet to have one bad season?
No, but it sounds great from two dudes that are podcasting from their spare bedrooms, but this is a very, very proud franchise. This is a very, very proud ownership group. And I don't know if they have the appetite to go, because here's the thing is, yeah, the quarterback class is loaded, but supposedly, right? But you got to be really, really bad. Like, you got to be like 2, 3, 4 wins bad, because there'll be other teams that are 2, 3, 4 wins bad.
Right.
So, and do you want, if you're 7th or 8th pick bad, you want the 3rd best quarterback, the 4th best quarterback out there? You know what I mean? Like, saw it a couple of years ago. Now, obviously, this was coming off of COVID, and all these guys didn't get to play and scout it or whatever. But Trevor Lawrence goes, and then Zach Wilson goes, and then Trey Lance goes, and then Mac Jones and Justin Fields, and like, do you really just want to be? Do you want to be the 4th or 5th quarterback taken if you're the Steelers? I don't know if that ownership group has the appetite for that terrible of a season. And then you're not even guaranteed, because there's teams like the Titans that exist. There's teams like the Raiders that exist. There's just always those tems. The Cardinals.
If they move, exactly.
If they move off of what they're doing, what are the Jets doing? You know what I mean? Like, all those. I know everybody, especially I live here in Utah, everybody loves Jackson Dart, right? But what are the Giants doing? Like, what we're going to talk about this team next, but my prediction for this next team might be their starting quarterback next year. So,
Right.
I mean, like that's a lot of shitty teams for the Steelers to just say, you know what, we're going to have one bad year and get ourselves a franchise quarterback and move on. So I don't know what they do. It's a proud ownership, proud franchise. So,
but how long are you going to go through the quarterback carousel? Right. I mean, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, then all the backups who have just come in, barely played anything. Mason Rudolph. I mean,
they haven't been like a championship contender since maybe like the last 3 or 4 years of Ben Roethlisberger's career. So I get it.
But then at that point, you have a strong offensive line. You have Antonio Brown. You have Le'Veon Bell. You have all these guys who are coming in, and they are pieces that are incredibly impressive.
That's a lot of CTE.
And DK Metcalf is Antonio Brown for more than one reason. So it's kind of I know it's hard to justify it, but I mean this could be the team that this is the team that brings in Daniel Jones to sign a bigger contract. Like this could be that team. Who's going to take the bank and who's going to take the risk. This could be the team that does it because they've done it 2 years in a row now. So another one comes in.
Is DK Metcalf going to sit there and let you go 2 for 15 without throwing a freaking fit? You know what I mean? That just
he may.
That's where I'm at.
That's just part of his personality, though. So just kind of let it ride. So moving on to the last team in the division, the Cleveland Browns, where I said that Myles Garrett was going to have a career high in sacks with 19 plus. He surpassed the 19 plus, won Defensive Player of the Year, and a record-breaking 23 sacks. Yes, he does have the record. No, I don't care about the extra games because he did it on less snaps, less pass rush snaps than anybody else. It's not even close. Myles Garrett owns the record. I do not care. So, yeah, like I said, this is one that is a win for me. I'm glad to at least have a couple under my belt. I usually don't get too many wins during the offseason and predictions and whatnot. So this is nice to have one at least right here. You said, good.
I've given up on the comparing the eras thing, comparing the games. Like I have been a long time. Ooh, hopefully nobody watches this part. I've been a long time LeBron James guy. Long time LeBron James guy. And talking about like Michael Jordan played against plumbers and electricians, right? No offense. But I'm done with that. Like LeBron's great. Michael was great. I don't care that Myles Garrett did it in more games and less snaps. You want to know why? Because the freaking offensive linemen that Lawrence Taylor was going against were not Trent Williams. Okay. Right. These were refrigerator 350-pound white dudes that ran 5.4 40s, right? Like, congratulations. Like, I'm done comparing the eras. Like the eras were like the NFL of the prior years of yesteryear were way more violent than they are now. The wide receivers are way faster and way more explosive than they ever were back then. Right. I saw this big old long 3-minute rant the other day about how Jerry Rice wouldn't even been drafted in today's day and age because he was slow. And there's, linemen and tight end that run faster 40s than Jerry Rice. And yeah, the dude's an idiot, but I'm not sitting here comparing eras. Like the dudes accomplished what they did against the talent that was put in front of them. Right. You play the games on your schedule. If the schedule's weak and you win, so be it. You won. Right. Like who cares that? Yeah. Right. Who cares? Break an ankle, Bo Nix. Like, who cares that it was more games and less snaps and all that stuff? It is still remarkable. Myles Garrett is one of the best NFL defenders of all time. Mm-hmm. That is solidified. And it's not even solidified because he got the record, right? When you bring up franchise cornerstone players that you would start your franchise with, you're talking names like Chris Jones and Myles Garrett and those guys right there. And shout out to you for making a super easy prediction that Myles Garrett was going to have a good year. Obviously, you're right. And we move on.
Man, you think career high. Come on. It's always something. No, yeah, and we gotta have the discussion. I'm gonna cut you off. Nope, no more. I'm gonna cut you off too. And we gotta have the discussion where Myles Garrett is top 2, top 3, number 1 overall picks of all time. I mean, how many guys really live up to the number 1 overall pick, Bill? Not a lot. I mean, he's the best in recent memory. He's the best since he was drafted. I mean, even 10 years before that, not a lot of guys live up to that. So Myles Garrett.
What's crazy is how many guys got drafted number 1, and then the guy that got drafted number 2 ended up being a perennial. And that's probably a quarterback thing, right? Like Cardinals take Kyler Murray and the 49ers take Nick Bosa, right? Like it's probably a quarterback thing because nobody, like Nick Bosa was the best player in that draft, but you got to take the quarterback. So I get that. But man, teams sure miss on the first round. Matter of fact, this season will be the first time in 4 years that the number 1 overall pick, assuming it's Fernando, doesn't get his head coach fired his rookie year. It's happened 4 times in a row where the quarterback that was selected number 1 got his his head coach fired that same year. It obviously won't happen this year with him just hiring Kubiak. So,
right, and they're super excited about it. I mean, I don't know a single Raiders fan that's not super hyped about it as well. So, I don't know how that's going to translate, but it's the Raiders.
You got to find something to be excited about if you're a Raiders fan.
Yeah, well, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I got to find something too. It's okay.
Hey, I'm scouting for NBA players in person. That's how excited I am that my team sucks. Like I'm gonna go see a BYU game to see that dude in person because hey, that might be a future player that we ruin for 4 years when we draft him next year. So,
right.
Honestly, the NBA should like give the Kings like some extra salary cap money or something because of the fact that they passed on players like Steph Curry and Giannis and Kawhi and Dame Lillard because if we had drafted them, they would be Nick Stauskas and wouldn't have done anything because we just ruined players. So they should thank us for that because these guys become franchise superstars because we don't take them. That's like the Raiders. Like when they miss, they allow other players to flourish because you get blessed with 1 year of Brock Bowers, and then you decide to ruin him. So Raiders aren't allowed to have nice things.
No, absolutely not. Talk about people who don't deserve nice things. You said that Deshaun Watson would be cut and would create the largest cap hit in NFL history. I believe we called it Deshaun Watson Day was what it was going to be, because he was going to have to get paid out every single year for the rest of his life. So yeah, and kind of like you already said, he may be the starting quarterback next year. I mean, barring unforeseen circumstances, he's probably going to just play out the rest of his contract or sit out the rest of his contract, however you want to put it. He's going to be on the team. There's not really a lot of outs for this contract unless you just want to take the hit. The Browns are the Browns at this point, and I think they're just going to let it ride at this point. It's too late. He signed that contract in 2022. It does not feel that long, but God, man, 2022, March.
Yeah, he threw for 4,800 yards and 33 touchdowns in 2020.
Yeah.
And he hasn't surpassed that mark combined in all the years since. So I think since 2020, he's got 3,300 passing yards and 19 touchdowns. So, which is like a Cam Ward season combined. But I don't think Dylan Gabriel is an NFL starting quarterback, and obviously the Browns don't have the belief in Shador. And so if they come into camp and he's been out for quite some time, so he's going to be healthy in terms of being able to go through a full training camp. And I don't if he's even close to decent, the Browns let's just say the Browns went 10-7 this year and Deshaun went for 4,000 yards and 27 touchdowns. Like you save a lot of face. Like if you can pull that off, I don't think they can. I don't think Deshaun's that guy, obviously, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, especially talking about in a division where the Steelers are unsure and the Bengals with the health of Joe Burrow. If he could stay healthy, obviously that's a potential playoff team. But the defense and the offensive line have been so bad year after year that he's been trying to will them, not this last year, but the year before. I mean, he was quite literally so close to making the playoffs and willing that team to a playoff spot, but couldn't quite do it because of how poor it was. So the questions on two of the teams there, and then Ravens with questions just because you have new regime in at this point, not questions with a lot of the roster or the players, the Lamar Jackson, none of that. It's the coaching coming in. So there's a lot of questions around this entire division, and it's not quite wide open, but there is opportunity for people to step up and have an explosive year, a Jacksonville Jaguars type year coming out, and then all of a sudden having a fantastic year. What were they, third in the conference? So,
I mean, you got Jedkins at running back, right? Like you got Harold Fannin Jr., you got Jerry Jeudy. I think David Njoku is a free agent. I don't think he plans on being back. I think he put that out on social media the other day that he won't be back. But
yeah,
and
I
you
mean,
got
Fannin wasn't Fannin out snapping him by the end of the year? I mean, I had him on the fantasy team, and he was playing well. So
I think Fannin I think Fannin saw over 100 targets and Njoku didn't even see 50.
yeah,
So, but and then you got a top 6 pick and maybe Carnell Tate falls to them at wide receiver, or they pick a stud at offensive tackle. Like it kind of shapes up for a way to see Deshaun to be. I'm not saying he's going to come out and be good, but for him to be their starter next year, which would be just crazy business. But after you take 2 rookies the year prior.
Yep.